Hi everyone, I'm Meenakshi and I welcome all of you to Tathastu. Today is 16th of September and this day, which is 16th of September, is celebrated as World Ozone Day, and it is important for all of us because we have been hearing this, that ozone layer is very important for us because it protects us from harmful UV radiation. But there are certain changes which are taking place, that is the ozone. We have heard this word ozone hole, that the ozone layer is depleting, it is thinning over a particular region. So in this video we will be learning about the history of World Ozone Day, why it is celebrated, what is ozone gas, why this ozone layer is important for us, and about certain conventions which are related to the ozone layer. But before that, these are the courses which are offered by the Tathastu ICS for all of you. We have MSLV, it specifically targets your mains examination. Then there is NCERT module, you can register for it. Then we have PSLV, which will be launching very soon, and it specifically targets your prelims examination. And then we have philosophy optional. Also, you can inquire on these contact numbers, and you can also visit this particular address for further inquiries. So now let's start with the topic of the day, which is about which is World Ozone Day. So what is World Ozone Day and why it is celebrated? So today 16th of September, as I said. So 16th of September is observed as International Day for Preservation of Ozone Layer, or simply we can say World Ozone Day. So this day is celebrated every year as International Day for Preservation of Ozone Layer. And why it is celebrated? To commemorate the signing of Montreal Protocol. As I just said, that there are certain conventions, there are certain protocols, certain treaties which are related to prevent this layer from getting depleting. So one of them is this Montreal Protocol, and it was signed today, that is 16th of September, and that is why 16th of September. Of course, you would have understood that Montreal Protocol is somehow related to this ozone layer depletion. So 16th of September every year is celebrated as World Ozone Day, and for this year 2023 we have a theme, and the theme is Montreal Protocol. Now we have seen that if we talk about the history, this day is celebrated to commemorate the signing of this particular protocol, and this year theme resemble the same. It is Montreal Protocol, fixing the ozone layer and reducing climate change. So every country right now, if we talk about the present scenario, every country is trying their level best to stop this climate change, mitigate the negative impacts of climate change. We are observing climate change phenomena. There are the patterns of rainfall are changing. We have seen that glaciers are melting, certain parts are experiencing drought, whereas certain parts are experiencing floods. For example, we can take of this Libya flash flood. So there are a lot of things we are observing around us, and countries are taking initiative to mitigate the impact of this climate change. Coming back to World Ozone Day, the theme is related to Montreal Protocol, fixing the ozone layer and reducing climate change. Now let's talk about the history of World Ozone Day. So it was established in response to the depletion of ozone layer. So since our childhood we have been hearing that ozone layer is important for us. Why? Because it protects us from harmful UV radiations of the sun. So it protects us from this, it acts as a protector, as it protects us from these harmful rays and the associated risk, because there are certain diseases, there are certain risks which are associated with it. So this layer is our protector, it protects us from these harmful rays. Now what happened, why this day is celebrated? So in 1970s and 1980s these scientists discovered a hole in the ozone layer over Antarctica. Now if we talk about that, scientists have discovered a hole, it doesn't in literal sense it doesn't mean that there's a hole in ozone layer. It means that the ozone layer is depleting, it is thinning over that particular region and that region is Antarctica. So in 1970s and 1980s the scientists discovered that this is a protector, that layer is depleting, that layer is thinning over Antarctica, and we must take certain steps, because otherwise it won't be able to absorb this harmful UV radiation, and it can have bad effects on our health. It can have bad effects for human beings. So in 1970s and 80s, when scientists started discovering that there is this hole, which is not actually a hole, it is just the thinning of the layer over Antarctica, and it led to the establishment of initiatives and protocols to ozone layer, and one of them is Montreal Protocol, which is also the theme of this year. So I hope why this day is celebrated is clear to all of you. Now let's move towards what is ozone gas. So ozone is a molecule containing 3 oxygen atoms, that is O3. Now the oxygen we breathe is O2, whereas ozone contains these 3 oxygen atoms, as you can see in this picture also, the O3. So this is basically a molecule containing 3 oxygen atoms. Now if we talk about the color and odor, so it is slightly blue in color, and this gas has a very strong odor. So if we talk about, so see, these are very small fact, and they can be asked in your examination, right? It can be asked that it is a odorless gas. So to twist the question, they can frame a statement like this, that it is a odorless gas, but it is not a odorless gas, it has a strong odor. And if we talk about the color of the ozone gas, it is slightly blue in color. So this is about the ozone gas. Now normal oxygen which we breathe have 2 oxygen atoms. I have said this, that it is O2, and that is colorless and odorless. So this differentiation particularly is important for all of you, that the normal oxygen we breathe, it is colorless and odorless. It have 2 molecules, that is O2. But whereas when we talk about ozone, it has 3 molecules. It is color also. If it have 1 extra molecule, it has this slight blue color, and it also has this strong odor. So this is the difference between O2 and O3. I hope this is clear. Now moving on, this ozone layer was discovered by French physicist, that is Charles Fabry and Henry Buisson in 1913. So this was about ozone, what is ozone as a molecule, and who discovered this ozone layer. Now moving forward, why is ozone important for us? So when, as I've said in the beginning of the video only, in simple terms, that ozone protects us from harmful UV radiations of the sun, because these harmful radiations have negative impact on our health. So this layer acts as our protector if we talk about ozone, and we must take some steps to protect our protector, that is ozone layer. So this layer is basically a thin layer of protective shield. If we have to define it, that what is ozone layer? So the ozone layer is a thin layer of protective shield, and it is found in the stratosphere of the earth. So we have heard these terms, troposphere, stratosphere. We'll be understanding it, but for now you should remember this, that it is a thin layer of protective shield and found in the stratosphere of the earth. Now this layer shields human from sun's dangerous UV rays, and without ozone layer in atmosphere, life on earth will be very difficult, because this layer absorbs the harmful UV rays. UV spectrum is also divided into this UVA, then we have UVB rays, and then we have UV. These are our ultraviolet rays. So these are absorbed by our ozone layer, and these UVC, as you can see in this picture, these UV rays have the shortest wavelength, and they are most dangerous for us, right? So these are completely absorbed by this. UVC is completely absorbed by our ozone layer, so that is why it is our protector. Now without the ozone layer in the atmosphere, life on earth would be very difficult, because there will be certain risk which comes with these UV rays, and plants cannot live and grow in heavy ultraviolet radiation. So we know that plants are producers. They produce their own food, and for that they need sunlight. But if they will receive these heavy UV radiation, then it will also be bad for them, it will also be negative for them. And nor the planktons, now they exist in the marine these marine areas, in aquatic ecosystem that serve as food for most of the ocean life. So this UV radiation is neither good for human beings, it is neither good for plants, and it is neither good for marine life, specifically if we talk about the planktons. Now with a weakening of the ozone layer shield, as this shield is thinning, it is depleting over the Antarctica region. Now humans would be more susceptible to skin cancer, cataracts, and impaired immune system. So one of these are the associated health risk, the associated dangerous health risk with which comes with these UV radiation, or with the weakening of the ozone layer shield. So that is the reason why ozone layer is important for us. Now, is ozone as particularly harmful? So just now I have said that ozone is a thin layer, it is a protective shield, it exists in the stratosphere, right? We also have the troposphere. So does ozone exist in troposphere? The answer is yes, it exists in troposphere also, and depending on the location, that whether it exists in troposphere or whether it exists in stratosphere, ozone layer may be beneficial or detrimental or harmful to the earth. Let's see how. For instance, the ozone will function as a shield if it is present in stratosphere. Now if the ozone layer, it is present in stratosphere, then it acts as this as protective shield. 90% of ozone is found over there, and it is considered as good ozone. And one more important thing about the ozone that is found in stratosphere, it occurs naturally over there. So depending on the location where that ozone gas is found, we can determine whether it is beneficial or whether it is harmful. So if it exists in stratosphere, that is good ozone, that does all the positive work, it protects us from the harmful this UV radiation. But this similar gas, this ozone gas, can be dangerous if it is in the troposphere, that is approximately 10 kilometers from Earth's surface. So ozone is beneficial only and only if it is occurring in the stratosphere, whereas if it is present in troposphere, then it acts as a pollutant. So then it is harmful or detrimental to earth. It is a pollutant that can harm both plants and lung tissue, and consequently a disruption in ozone balance can have negative effect. And in this troposphere region, it is caused by the human activities, it is created by the human activities. Let's see how. In lower atmosphere, the troposphere, near the earth's surface, ozone is created by the chemical reaction between air pollutants, and those chemical reaction, for example, we have these exhaust from that vehicular emission, we have these nitrogen oxides. Now when it mixes with these volatile organic compound, then this ozone is created in the troposphere region. So this vehicular exhaust, this gasoline vapors and other emission, this leads to the formation of ozone in the troposphere region, whereas the good ozone, that is almost 90%, it sits in the stratosphere and protects us from the UV rays. Now if we talk about the natural level of ozone in stratosphere, we have seen that in troposphere it is created by all these emissions and then it acts as a pollutant, whereas if we talk about the stratosphere region, the natural level of ozone in stratosphere is a result of the balance between sunlight that creates ozone and chemical reaction that destroys it. That is how it is created in, or how it is naturally present in our stratosphere region. Now if we talk about, we have already seen this diagram, we have this spectrum which is a UV ray spectrum which is divided into UVA, UVB, and then we have UVC, and these UVC, they have the shortest wavelength, but they are most dangerous among these three spectrums. So let's see. Ozone screens all of the most energetic UVC radiation and most of UVB radiation. So this ozone layer, this our ozone layer, it it absorbs, it screens all of this UVC. This UVC is the most dangerous for human beings. Now imagine a life without ozone, when we have all the UVC coming to the Earth's atmosphere directly. The human beings or plant, nobody would be able to survive or bear these harmful UV radiation. So ozone basically screens this all of this UVC spectrum. It absorbs all of it, and most of this UVB radiation. No, see, these UV rays are harmful for all of us, right? UVA, UVB, UVC. We are just imagining, we are just analyzing which one is the most harmful. UVC is the most harmful. That is why this ozone absorbs all of it. UVB is also harmful, but ozone absorbs most of the UVB radiation. And then if we talk about this UVA radiation, then ozone only screens half of them. Although it tries to screen, absorb all of them, but it only screen or absorb half of the UVA radiation, and UVC are the most dangerous among these three spectrums. Now ozone layer depletion. Let's talk about the depletion. The depletion is caused by release of, so these CFCs, we must all of you must have heard about these chlorofluorocarbons that are most commonly used in these refrigerators or refrigerants. So ozone depletion is caused by the release of such gases and other ozone depleting substances which were used widely, as mostly these substances are widely used as refrigerant. Then they are used as these insulating foams, and then other there are also certain other uses such as the solvents. Now the depletion of ozone layer occurs globally, but the severe depletion have been observed. The scientists observed that depletion in 1970s or 1980s over Antarctica, which they termed as the ozone hole. So you have understood it by now then. This ozone hole is not actually hole, it is just this depletion of the layer over the Antarctica region. And now we can also observe this depletion over the Arctic region as well. That is why this day is also important. We should take initiatives to save our protector or our protective shield that protects us from the harmful rays. Now these are ozone depleting substances. This is very important for all of you. You can take a screenshot, because UPSC often asks these kind of questions, that which of the following contribute to the ozone depletion. So these are some ozone depleting substances. Most common among them is this chlorofluorocarbons. Then we have HCFCs, which is hydrochlorofluorocarbons. Then we have hydrobromofluorocarbons, halogens, methyl bromide, carbon tetrachloride, freons, and methyl chloroform. So these are our ozone depleting substances which contribute towards the depletion of the ozone layer. Now at the beginning we have also discussed that there are certain conventions which are related to the protection of our ozone layer. Now we will be discussing about the Montreal Protocol. So Montreal Protocol, it is commonly known as Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer, and it is a global agreement to protect the earth ozone layer. So this protocol is particularly related to protect the earth's ozone layer by phasing out the chemicals that deplete it. So we have seen there are certain chemicals that deplete the ozone layer, and most common among them is this chlorofluorocarbon. So there was this Montreal Protocol, that is a global agreement to protect this layer by phasing out these substances that deplete our ozone layer. Now this phase out plan includes both the production as well as the consumption of the ozone depleting substances. There are lots of ozone depleting substances. So this phase out plan includes both the production and consumption as well. This landmark agreement was signed in 1987 on 16th of September, and it entered into force in 1989, that is 1st January 1989. This particular agreement, the Montreal Agreement, the Montreal Protocol, entered into force, and it is signed by 197 countries. And the most important thing about this protocol is it is the first treaty in the history of United Nations to achieve universal ratification. So this treaty is considered the first treaty which achieved the milestone of universal ratification, and this treaty, this protocol is related to protect the Earth's ozone layer. Now before this was signed in 1987 and then it was enforced in 1989. Before this there was also one convention, Vienna Treaty, which is also related to this protection of our ozone layer, but certain parts of it were not legally binding, and it paved way for this Montreal Protocol. Now this Montreal Protocol has been amended several times. One of the most important amendment is the Kigali Amendment, the most recent amendment in 2016, and it called for the phase out of hydrofluorocarbons, the HFCs. And now if we talk about India has successfully achieved the complete phase out of HCFC 141b, and this was a chemical which was used by these foam manufacturing industries. So India has successfully phased out HCFC 141b. It was also a ozone depleting substance and one of the most potent ozone chemical after chlorofluorocarbon. So this has been phased out by India, which was considered one of the most potent this ozone depleting substance after our chlorofluorocarbons, because these are considered as the most potent ozone depleting substance. So this was all about ozone and certain conventions, and I hope you found the session helpful. If you found it helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.